Hello everyone. I am Alex, one of the most widely used voices of Apple's Macintosh OS X operating system. I decided to script this video, instead of speaking live. I think it's a better way to do a video like the one you are about to listen to. Okay, let's start from the beginning. Apple's keynote in September 2015. I watched the event, thanks to Sam Locke for hosting it, and I got to tweet and listen to everything. My main interest, as I'm sure you may have figured out by now, was the new iPhone 6s. It always felt weird for me to hear descriptions of stuff I can't even imagine, like 3D touch, and the camera and all that. Next, the reviews on AppleVis were the confidential source of information I looked at, found a few specifics about 3D touch, and I always thought, even then, that this, if not the next phone after it, may be the one I want to use if my 5S is unable to download newer software updates. Let's fast forward to November 2016. Now that I've had the Apple Watch for a few months, I can conclude that the phone, in terms of contextual menus, 3D touch, is the clear winner, but I still knew that if it's this easy to make it happen, I will. So I told my dad about the advantages of the 6S alongside the SE and 5S. I was not sure if I convinced him enough to buy me one, but it would be a while anyway, so he would have a lot of time to think it over. Getting closer to the present, Christmas Eve, 2016. I had a hope to get TMI-related stuff, not so much new devices, because I was even more than completely, to be honest, happy with what I had. But it turned out that the only, maybe not, thing that surprised and confused me was, you guessed it, the 6S. I was confident that I would only get this half a year later, but okay. Whatever. It felt so weird to know that I'm unwrapping an Apple box and knowing that it's early. Anyway, the AirPods, the case, which I don't know if it came with its standard, the lightning cable, and the screen protector, almost sure that he put that in, came out, and I was left with a really thin, bit bigger, and just so, I don't know, beautiful phone in my hands. Physical differences. As I already stated, the 6S is thinner, has more of a curved edge thing than the 5S, which was just a rectangle. The screen is nothing major to me. I'm okay with a 4.7-inch, but I would never like a 6S Plus. On the side, the volume buttons feel different, still disjointed unlike a lot of Samsung phones I see, but it's fine. Everything worked as I expected it to. Along with the lock button, which, just like Samsung phones again, is on the right side, instead of the top. But again, I can get used to it. A little note about the camera bump. I saw a lot of problems with the earlier 6 camera bump, but I've compared the two, because I've seen one before without a case on, and I think they're identical. And no, nothing made the phone flip around while I placed it on a table. So yeah. Okay, let's get some audio files going, shall we? First, I am going to talk a little bit about what I could experience while my phone was being set up, without access to my room alone to experiment yet. First, vibration and 3D touch, as I first seen it in action. Being used to the 5S vibrating, I can't show you an example, but suffice it to say that the normal vibration sounds less bended, and lower pitched. Here is an example. Next, onto 3D touch. The first thing I noticed was that if I were to apply pressure to an element with VO, it would play 3 sequential tones, indicating the pressure level. I don't know if this has any purpose in real life, but it works. Here is an example.
So this is the sequential tone thing. I'm using the camera to test this, so I will tap on the viewfinder, and I hold my finger there, and I'm going to start applying pressure, and you'll see the tones. 1, 2, 3. And you can do this as fast as you want. That's the fastest you can ever get if you apply a lot of pressure at once. And it stays with elements. So for example, if I do 2 tones, and I'm going to go to a different app. For example, I'm going to go to Photos, and I'm going to do the albums heading this time, and I apply as much pressure as I can. It's not doing anything until 3. So that was not exactly a good example there, but it stays with elements. And it also works with buttons, but the buttons will always activate no matter what. I'm going to talk about that later.
Next, and this goes without saying, if you apply a pressure level of the peak, it will click any button or basically interact with anything, just like a double tap would anywhere on the screen. I find this quite useful in certain situations. Another thing I can show you in audio form was the first time I saw the tapping part of the vibration motor. Before the update had been completed, it vibrated when I switched to mute the same way as the 5S would, of course not like the 5S motor, but it did produce a vibration instead of a tap. Now, the first, light tap you can feel is by peaking the left side of the screen. This activates the app switcher in most cases, but to hear it without, you either need to have VO turned off, or on the lock screen, which is what I'm going to do. Example follows.
I have my phone here, and I'm going to press the lock button. 1823. I'm going to 3D touch the left side of the screen. This is what it sounds like. Yeah, I don't know if you could have heard that, but let's just keep it steady here. Now, one thing you can do is if you hold your finger there, it's going to vibrate every 2 seconds or so, which is the limit that you have to wait until you can pass, until you can do that again. It only does this with the left side of the screen kind of thing. So that is what the light tap vibration sounds like, and that's enough.
Okay, let's fast forward another few hours, and explain any differences as I find them. First, let's have some more fun with 3D touch. Now that I've gotten home screen icons, I can bring up the shortcut menus to all of them, just by peeking on the item. Let's see what uses does the feature have. Example follows.
Okay. This is going to be the whatever you can do with icons on the home screen. So first there's all these folders I have. So if I peek on these, I'm going to try and position it so that you can hear the vibration as well. But it's not going to be very much because, well,
Utilities folder, 5X.
it's going to say dismiss shortcut menu the whole way through. I mean all the time. But anyway, click.
Dismiss shortcut menu, rename, button.
There's a rename,
Utilities folder, rename,
and that's all.
Dismiss
If
shortcut.
there will be any new items, it would give you an option to look at what has new items. You don't need to open the folder, and you just click on the app and it will launch it for you.
Dismiss shortcut menu, blindfold games
The example for that is the
folder,
games
27
folder.
minutes, 59 new
I
items.
have a lot of new
Double
items
tap to open.
there.
Actions available. Games folder. Beta poker. Button. Games folder. Dismiss shortcut menu. Beta poker. Slots. Trivia crack. Kingdoms. Rename. Button.
God, Trivia Crack and Kingdoms I barely use
Games
anymore.
folder. Dismiss shortcut menu. Dismiss. Games folder.
Okay, so with folders we're done. Now, let's look at some stock apps. I think I'm done with showing you vibration stuff. I'm going to do one more, and that's going to be the phone. And after that, I'm just going to hold the phone just a little bit away because I don't feel like doing this anymore. And I think you get the idea of what the vibrations sound like. So here's the phone.
Double tap to open.
It's on the bottom left corner of my screen, just like it would be on a stock system or out-of-the-box kind of system. So I'm going to peek on that.
Dismiss short. Apple. Mobile. Create new contact. Button.
Create new contact.
Search for contact.
Search for
Button.
contact.
View most recent call.
View most recent call, which I think goes to recents.
Favorites. Heading.
And you have favorites, which is a really cool thing because all I have to do to call, like if I were to be done with school, what I had to do with the 5S was to
Dock. Phone.
open it.
Selected. Contacts. B. Heading. Row. Tedger.
I would find that and I would click on it
Selected. Contacts. Message. Chat message. Mobile.
and I would call mobile.
Contacts.
But with this, all I have to do
Double tap to open.
is watch.
Actions available.
3D touch,
Phone.
wait for it to say create contact, and 4-finger tap on the bottom. and double tap.
Dismiss shortcut menu. Create new contact. Jeddah. Mobile. Button.
And I just click that, and it's done.
Phone.
So yes, that's another useful case of 3D Touch actually being used as something that will help. Another thing you can do is messages.
Messages. One unread message. Dismiss shortcut
So-
menu. John Miller. Button. Dismiss shortcut menu. John. Daniel Abraham. New message. Button.
And there's new
New
message.
Dismiss shortcut menu. Dismiss.
Same
Messages.
with
One
mail.
unread message. Doc. Mail. No unread emails. Double tap to open. Dismiss shortcut menu. Add which all inbox. Dismiss shortcut menu.
I don't know
Dismiss
what-
shortcut- all inboxes.
Uh,
Unread messages.
yeah,
Button.
all inboxes,
VIP. No unread messages. Button.
VIP,
Search. Button.
search,
New message. Button.
new
Mail.
message.
Button.
I don't know what
Add widget.
mail
Button.
does, but I think
Mail.
that's just opening the app.
Add widget.
I don't know what add widget does, but if you click on it, it does
Add
nothing.
widget. Add VIPs. Button.
Add VIPs,
Add VIPs.
and that's it.
Mail.
Let's take a look at a few other stock apps. I'm going to go through
Utilities.
utilities because there's 4 apps in there.
Reminders.
Reminders is
Double
first.
tap to open. Action. Reminders. Button. New reminders. Button. No upcoming reminders. Button. Dismiss.
Yeah.
No upcoming reminders.
No upcoming reminders.
Reminders.
So the
Double tap
same
to open.
thing
Calendar.
with
January 14th,
calendar.
Saturday. Actions about dismiss shortcut menu.
Again, I think you just need a little more pressure than a peak, which is the first note.
Up next. Button.
Up
Heading.
next.
Add widget. No upcoming events. Reminders. Alarms.
Upcoming events, reminders, or alarms.
Add event. Button.
Add
Add
event.
event. Button. Calculator.
For calculator, okay. This is a thing which I need to show you. I'm going to try to turn speech off when I'm doing this,
Calculator.
so that you'll
Speech.
get the full benefit. So here's the calculator. Now, there are times where if you 3D touch on the calculator, which is probably the only app that does this, it will do that, and it opens the calculator itself.
Speech on.
So let me close that
Apps. Reminders.
again by using the
Closing calculator. Reminders. Active.
thing on the left side. So
Calculator.
that's
Double tap to
something.
open. Calculator.
Now I think we're done with stock apps. Now let's take a look at
With advice.
installed apps.
iCloud Drive. BP management. Share B.
In most cases,
BP management. Dismiss
if
shortcut menu.
the app hasn't been updated and there's nothing for 3D touch, it will
BP management.
let you
Double
open
tap to
the
open.
app
Actions. Share BP management. Button.
and share, which it lets you share the link of the App Store thing. Another thing,
Tuning radio. Watch apps folder.
Here.
6 apps.
let's open
Watch apps
it.
folder.
Now I don't know,
Watch apps. Watch.
does the Watch app have any 3D touch stuff? Let's see.
Watch.
I didn't check yet.
Dismiss. Watch. Pair Apple Watch. Button.
Pair Apple
Pair Apple
Watch.
Watch.
That's
Dismiss shortcut menu.
all.
Dismiss
Okay,
shortcut
that's
menu.
weird because I already have an Apple Watch paired.
Activity.
Now,
Activity.
activity is another
Double tap
thing
to open.
that,
Activity.
that people may want
tap
to
to open.
use
Action
because what it does, you can do this in Notification Center today as well.
Dismiss shortcut menu.
But if you click
History.
on this,
Button. Stand. Not. Activity. Button. Rings. Moving 74%. Exercising 70%. Standing 75%.
it tells you.
Move. 193/260 calories. Exercise. 21/30 minutes. Stand. 9/12 hours. History. Button.
History,
Workouts. Button.
workouts,
Sharing. Button.
sharing,
Send my.
and
Send my activity rings.
send my activity rings.
Send my.
To who?
Send my.
What's this?
Message. Button. Draggable.
Oh,
Tap
wow.
and hold. Wait for the sound.
It actually lets you share. Okay, that's cool. Didn't know that. And then it opens the thing.
2017.
It's inside the app. Let's close it.
71%. Apps with gods. Active. Activity. Closing activity. Watch apps. Heading. Text via closing watch apps.
So that's all for 3D Touch with home screen icons. Next, well, you'll see what's coming next.
With the home screen out of the way, let's talk about what else you can do with 3D Touch. The two main gestures that Apple specifically stated were the peek and the pop. The pop just means more pressure on the same item after performing the peek. I will give an example on how this works with messages and mail.
And as you could have heard, the Touch ID
Utilities
was
folder.
like
Five
lightning
apps.
quick there. This time I'm gonna do just a very small,
Doc. Messages. One unread message.
a really
Double
small
tap to open.
kind of
Swipe up or down
3D
to select custom
touch
action. Then double tap to activate.
on the messages. I'm gonna, the way you normally 3D touch any button or anything is that you do a peek on it and then you let go real quick. So if I just do that again, or do that now, you heard me do it. Now I'm gonna,
Plus 36 22 102. John Miller.
for
Plus
example, there's a message from this thing. So I'm just gonna
Switch.
tap on it with speech off, put the vibration, I'll put the phone close to the vibration thing, and I'm gonna peek on it. 1, that is the preview, so it previews the message. You may be able to do something with it, but I don't know. Now I'm holding my finger there, and if I do even more pressure, I'm gonna do a pop, and pop into the message. And that is what the pop sounds like.
Daniel
We'll do that a little
Games
quicker.
allowed us to, and we'll quickly move.
So, peak, pop. I like the difference between the two. The peak is a lighter thing than the pop. Same thing with mail. Let me get out here.
Home. Doc. Mail.
Again,
Mail in red.
3D touching mail.
Mail. All inboxes. Search field.
And now I'm going to click on a random email.
YouTube. Speech.
And peak. Pop. Yeah, you need an extreme amount of pressure for pop. So that is peak and pop. People can do that in their apps for certain elements. And I don't know if I can show this, but I'll try to record some other stuff that I may not be able to record right now. But I will record some other stuff, and yeah. So I'll be back with more text.
Another thing you can do with 3D Touch is interacting with notifications. The notification center and the control center can also do things that you couldn't do with the 5S. I don't have any lock screen notifications right now, but I will make a recording of interacting with them later. An example follows of notification center and control center stuff.
So, here is the notification center. I'm gonna
1943.
status bar,
Notification center.
swipe down
Search.
with 3 fingers. Now, I have a bunch of notifications from here.
Messenger. 5 hours ago.
So if I don't know what happens if is it possible for me to 3D touch on a notification and get more information? Yes, there is. It does the same thing as if I were to interact with a notification from the lock screen, so I don't need to make a recording of this. This is what happens. Click dismiss, there's a dismiss button.
Alkene energy. Pulsating heart. Button. Reply. Button. Thumbs up.
Reply,
Button.
thumbs up,
Mute. Button.
mute,
View message.
view
Button.
message.
View message.
So there's stuff that you can do.
Or notifications.
And there are no notifications, but if there would be any, which I know there will be, you can 3D touch the clear notifications button, and there'll be option to clear everything, no matter what day it happened. So if you get a notification from a bunch of notifications from a week
It's
ago,
1945.
well, yeah, that's what you can do. Can't show you that right now, but it works.
Top 3 Wi-Fi bars.
Next is the control center.
Control center. Touch. Switch button. Off.
Now
Double tap to toggle
torch.
setting.
Oh, here.
Double tap to
I'm
toggle
gonna
setting.
3D touch it.
Dismiss shortcut menu.
Does the same thing as the dismiss shortcut menu
Dismiss shortcut.
thing.
Bright light. Button.
Bright light,
Medium light.
medium
Button.
light.
Low light. Button.
Well, anyway, I'm done with this recording. So, I don't think there's anything else you can do with 3D Touch aside from interacting with notifications, and I've already covered that anyway. And of course, clearing the notification center, I've already talked about that. So, I think I'm done with 3D Touch. Now let's talk about some other stuff in text.
The 3D Touch thing is over with, but there are still a few differences to cover. I don't think there are any more recordings, aside from one more that will be covered later. Next, a bit of info about Touch ID. The fingerprint scanner works the same way as it did for the first time on a phone on the 5S. You just hold the finger on the home button and it works. The speed at the recognition works though, is amazingly fast. The other thing you can do with the home button, as well as clicking it, is to tap it twice on anything that is not a home screen and it will shift the screen down, so that people can use the phone with one hand, or when it's in their pocket. I don't think I need to make a recording for this one, it's self-explanatory. Oh, before I forget, let me mention that now, since my phone has been updated, the mute vibration is not a vibration anymore, it's almost the same as the thing you heard when I 3D touched on the calculator, just a bit harder. No, I'm not making a recording of this either. What else? I think the last thing I can mention here, unless someone comments on the video and tells me to make recordings, is the speaker. The only thing I want to show here is the ability to muffle it way more than the 5S. The next recording, which is the last, is about muffling the speaker in different ways.
Okay, welcome back. And I'm still on the Skype call, so excuse me for any noises. I just want this to be over with, so let's play this random video. Oh, and there it works.
Settings.
Okay.
Double tap to mail.
Don't ask what this music is, because
Video player.
I just pulled it up from my liked videos randomly. So all I want to test here is the speaker's muffle ability. So So I can just hold my hand over. Yeah, you can do that. Another thing I really like doing, I'm gonna make this just a little bit louder now, so that you can hear, I hope you can, is to do this. So I can, like, I don't know, put my mouth over it and it's just gonna... Okay, that's enough. So, you get the idea. That is about the speaker muffling. I think... Oh, crap. I don't care. I think I'm going to do this last part in audio instead of text. I'm way too lazy. And I just want to get this done with, or over with.
FaceTime. FaceTime audio with Danny music tips at gmail.com. Window. Danny FaceTime decline button. NS menu item. Danny accept button. Press accept. QuickTime player. Stop recording button.
Anyway, so as you can see, I've covered most of the stuff that I found is different. Of course, there's a lot of other stuff with software and a lot of other stuff I don't know about it. Or, like, for example, I may, I don't know, like, I don't think I ever saw an app yet that will directly work with 3D touch pressure, because I've had things like I've had what is this? I've had apps, descriptions of apps supporting, like, saying that it supports 3D touch, but in a way, like, I don't know, like 3D touch is not just 3 layers, it's like, I don't know, like thousands or something. And somehow they can make that happen. I don't know how. But for example, with music apps, it would be really cool. And I may search for apps on that, if it's accessible, of course, but anyway, I think that's it for this video. I'm sorry if Alex's speed was way too slow for you. I'm too lazy to change it. And, yeah. And, by the way, before I forget this, too, thank you for all the subscriptions I've received. I mean, I didn't think I would get this many from, I don't know what videos you've been watching, but I haven't displayed a lot of content last year, or this year, really. And I don't think I'm going to be able to display, upload anything, really, except just a few things, like this. So, just be aware that I'm not going to be making videos like more than 2 a week.
My God. Not this annoying thing.
You know what to do, right? That happens. Hook over it. Hook over it!
I was gonna do that next, but I was too lazy to do it.
You have to. No, it's... Now you gotta hook over it again. I'm just gonna let Daniel beat 9-1.
Yora.
And I'm gonna end the video and try to compile it. But yeah, if anyone has ever watched to the end, yeah, that's all I have to say. So I hope you've enjoyed, if ever. And please be sure to, like, if you want me to cover anything else, I can try to cover it in a comment or video.
Why can't you use the hook to get down? Why do you have to use the
Because
ladder?
you're able to use the hook when you to get down, but only once you've beaten the game once. After that, in the other modes, it'll give you the option to press V as well as L. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and goodbye for mood.